Hello, everybody. Welcome to Brown and Browner. It's the end of July / early August, if you will. And, we're getting to that time of year where guess what? There are no more Sundays without football for a while, which is great.
Yay. Good morning, everybody.
Yep.
We're here to talk football, but there's still some relevant topics in sports. But yeah, football dominates the landscape starting in August with training camp. We do have some stories, some tragic. Tony Romo. Did you see Tony Romo, everybody? He looked a bit lazy-eyed. But I think we can start talking about, let's talk about some corruption.
Let's talk about the other football.
The other football, the global sport.
The global sport of football that's been a little bit more corrupt than usual. And obviously we saw some of that during the World Cup and everything. We've alluded to some of that stuff. But now you've got this news coming out this week. You've got some bit of privatization potentially going on within FIFA to the tune of almost $800 million or $1 billion. It's some obscene money, basically. And sure enough, the private group that's looking to take over FIFA and its operation and how it all works is not led up, but at least infiltrated by our beloved president and his family. Now, it's not him himself. It's his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who's leading up this monumental group on a global level, who's looking to take over FIFA, essentially, from Infantino and the rest of the corrupt boys that exist at that level. We've already seen how powerful or manipulative this group is, meaning FIFA itself. To have it be put in the hands of the few who may or may not even be as part of the soccer confluence, it may be corporate takeover at its finest in this case, is a detriment to sport, in my opinion. And just like in any other sport where we see privatization or corruption or outside forces trying to take over for monetary value, which is exactly what this is. It's for monetary value at the end of the day.
And that's exactly what this sounds like. And actually, it's a $20 billion deal for 20% stake in this whole subsidiary, which is a commercial vehicle called FIFA Forward Enterprise. So basically, it's going to manage all of the sponsorship, ticketing, licensing rights, and broadcasting of World Cup and other premier competitions.
And we saw all the stuff with ticketing already this year.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, if FIFA was already corrupt, how much more corruption is there going to be now?
Exactly.
And you got the investment fund. So fundraising is being structured by JP Morgan. So it's a strategic partner. The initial investing group is expected to be led by Thrive Capital, which is an American venture capital firm funded by Joshua Kushner. Again, how are we looking? So it says basically they're offering an immediate $20 million cash payout to each association that votes in favor by September 19th.
A bribe.
Promising future payments reaching up to $86 million per association by 2038.
In other words, we're buying your vote. Translation.
I mean, at some point, I get the idea of money making in sports. I get all of that. But if you're going to lose the integrity of the sport due to the money, it's like the people who are fixing games because they, can. Then what does sport become?
Exactly. And this is all leading up into what is the next World Cup. And if you think about the monetary value of the next World Cup, I mean, people have said the United States World Cup is one of the most expensive ever. I'm sure it was. Obviously, we could see that on paper and see what happened on the floor. The next one is being held in Spain, Portugal, and North Africa. There is a huge lucrative base to that in many ways. Obviously, one of the first ones in North Africa ever, which is huge. Right. And obviously, you saw the ascendancy of all the African teams this year, which is amazing to watch.
Right.
Spain and Portugal themselves having a historic birthright in soccer in their own right. And guess what? You still have Messi and Ronaldo. So I'm sorry. And people say they're retired, and Ronaldo came out and said, this is my last World Cup. No, you're going to go play in your home country. Messi's going to go play in Spain. Because guess what? There's going to be a Brinks truck backed up in their house here shortly.
Honestly, I guess my feeling about the old, guard not letting go. Sure, I get the nostalgic value. I get all of that. But honestly, I don't want to see Ronaldo anymore.
No,
I really don't. He hasn't shown me that he's even close to the
player. James Harden of soccer.
So you know what? Be there as an ambassador. Show your face. Do what Neymar did, and just retire from international competition. I think that would be the best instead of tarnishing your legacy. LeBron, I give LeBron all of the credit. We can transition into that.
Absolutely.
I give LeBron all the credit because even though he's making headlines with the decision to, and this nonsense of where am I going to go? where is Waldo going to be? Let me take 6 weeks to decide that and keep my name in the headlines. But LeBron is still one of the top 20 scorers. He still can play defense. This dude may be 40 years old, but I tell you what, he's still a viable player that could, not necessarily be the focus of a team, but he definitely can hold his own on the court with just about anybody.
To me, if he continues to play at the rate he's playing, even with the limited minutes and the time management and all the other garbage that exists in the NBA today, this dude could play another 4 or 5 years and still be a top. He's a top 2 or top 3 scorer on every single team. So he's contributing to your team no matter where you are playing. I don't care what lineup you're in. He is a top 2, 3 guy. So until he decides to hang him up himself, credit to him in that sense. I again, he's not my best player ever, and I don't think he's yours either. And for some very candid reasons, but at the same time, if the man's gonna be allowed to leave on his own terms, let him leave on his own terms, just like Tom Brady did. These guys are still at the top of their game when they were leaving, or when they're going to leave, which is scary.
And that's a credit to them because, and that's the thing that I think, starting where we were with Ronaldo and Messi, you got to know when it's time to leave.
Yes.
And some people didn't. I might even say Jordan didn't necessarily know when to leave.
The wizard years aren't, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, he still had some amazing, plays and games within that, but it wasn't Jordan. It was, Jordan Light, Jordan, Jordanette.
Yep.
But I have to say, LeBron, he may not be my favorite player, but for someone to play this long in the league and still be able to, put up the numbers that he's putting up, give him all the credit. Now, the real discussion is around, look, the first decision is when I hated LeBron. I followed LeBron throughout his high school career. I was, really rooting for him. Same. I thought he could be the next guy. Maybe not next Jordan. I hate when people say that, but the next guy.
Yeah.
He comes into the league. He does all right. But then he holds the town of Cleveland, his hometown, hostage with the decision, and then ended up going to Miami, made it a public spectacle. Like that's like taking your girlfriend and dumping her on TV in front of millions of people. Is that necessary?
Well, let's. I'm gonna throw a little curveball, and I saw this, I think, on the internet, so it's not my idea, but it's a very good equation here. LeBron jumping around to a bunch of teams to get his last ring, or maybe his next ring, whatever it is equivalent to him having to seek out other good talent, obviously, to go get his fame and fortune. Right at the end of the day. Now, could he carry a team? No, he obviously can't carry a team. We haven't seen him do it at all, except for the 1 year in Cleveland, obviously, that they did. And even then, some could say that Kyrie Irving and everybody else helped out, obviously, which they did. It was a good run.
I think he had a year at the Lakers where he carried the Lakers.
Credit given to his runs and credit given to his early years in Cleveland, obviously, where he carried the team and, took respect for it and did what he did. And then later in life, which is now, he's having to jump around team for team, trying to hunt for ways to get a ring and all that stuff. Imagine if Jordan would have done the same thing, let's say in 1999, then he would have gone to, let's say, the San Antonio Spurs, because that would have been the most logical, right? Where it would have been him, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. I mean,
an Olympic team, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Now, but that's where the credit's given, right?
Right.
Jordan didn't need to stoop to that because he was already the greatest. There is no question. And he didn't make it a dramatic thing during his entire tenure of play, where he was that pariah, or he was that, prima donna guy, look at me, Cristiano Ronaldo kind of mentality.
Hey, he didn't even have the highest salary. At one time, John Kotkaniemi got the most money in the NBA when Jordan was around and Ron Harper was around. So I totally agree with you there. And one thing, if anybody's seeing this, I saw it on TikTok, Allen Iverson had the best perspective that I've ever seen. He said, LeBron is great. We can't take away his greatness. But is he one of the greats? The greats were Magic. Did he leave the Lakers? Exactly. Bird. Did he leave those Celtics?
Exactly.
Jordan had to overcome Bird, Magic, and Isaiah.
He beat all the greats.
With guys who had headaches and didn't want to play. He didn't run to another team that was pre-made to win. He made his team better and won with that team. That's the difference between the greatest and people who are great. LeBron's greatness is still within him, but if you look at his career, and you named it, he didn't win in Cleveland, and maybe that was part of, I think it was Gar Hurd or whoever owned the organization at the time. The person who was blind, I forgot his name.
Yeah.
They didn't surround him with the right talent, and maybe that was true. But Jordan didn't have that talent. He was playing with cokeheads, Orlando Woolridge and Quentin Daly and all of these cokeheads, and yet he still was able to show his greatness. And then once he got the right team around him, he taught them how to win and what it took to win.
He made others better, and that was the difference with Jordan versus LeBron. I mean, like I said, he had already some talent around him in Cleveland. It just tended to shine at the right moment. Fine, that's great. LeBron's early years in Cleveland, I equate to the same thing as AI had in Philly, where he had nothing around him.
Another great example. Aaron McKie,
yeah.
You know, guy from Temple, I think he went to.
And this guy nearly single-handedly on his back carried an entire franchise.
And he was diminutive in stature when you look at basketball, but yet that dude had the heart of a lion, and he played with the
greatest heart I've ever seen in my lifetime.
And you're champion, right?
In my lifetime of basketball, he is going to go down as one of my top 5 only because of his heart and his ability at his stature. It is incredible to watch.
And that is somebody that, again, you know, maybe him and LeBron, but when we talk about greatness, I can see that with AI. LeBron, here's some stats that you know, I think we've talked about before, but I want people to hear. LeBron went to Miami and played with 2 other All-Stars, Bosh and Wade, right? He went to the championship, 6 times, 4 in a row, something like that. He won 2. And the ones that he won, it wasn't because of him, it was because of Wade. And the ones that
Ray Allen.
Yeah. And Ray Allen helped that one. What was that, against San Antonio? So think about that. He didn't win those championships because of him. When they lost, think about it. They lost to Dirk Nowitzki and the Dallasettes. Because name 3 other people.
Somebody else on that.
Yeah, exactly. And during that series, during the fourth quarter, LeBron averaged like 5 points in the fourth quarter.
He's vanished.
He disappeared when the game mattered most. And one of the things that my biggest knock on LeBron is the lion goes for the kill. Kobe, AI, Jordan, Magic, Bird.
Mark Rushmore is made up of lions in every sport.
I don't defer to somebody else when it's time to win and hope we win. Jordan did that later on in his career because he was trying to get the players to understand. Paxson, Kerr, all of those guys were able to benefit from that. But how many championships did he win? Remember the whole thing with Byron? He pushed him to the side. He hit his last shot. How many moments like that has LeBron ever had? How many moments did he take the initiative to be the man and take the, you know, all of the good and the bad that comes with being the person taking the last shot?
I'm hoping they kind of, I mean, I don't want him to get the same thing as a Last Dance treatment, which he may and later in life, and that's fine. I want to see what his comments are in a huddle, like "give me the ball" kind of thing, because you ain't gonna see it, in my opinion. You ain't gonna see it once. He's gonna defer. Because, and I get it, the guy's had a big spotlight on him since freaking middle school. I get it. But that's where the greatness shines, right? Like, that's where the cream of the crop is the cream of the crop. Kobe said, "I want the ball." Jordan said, "I want the ball." Larry Bird said, "I want the ball."
Bird, Magic, AI, Ray Allen, anybody. Not LeBron.
Not LeBron. So, and then that's where, like I said, the whole dramatics, theatrics, all this movement around, you know, in what we would call post-prime life, if you will, because it's not retirement just yet. At the end of the day, I'm going to put it out there and say this. If they don't win a title this year, call them a failure. Simple as that, because you've chosen your path. You had the ability distinctly in the NBA, which meant very few players get to do because it's, you know, salary and everything else. You get to choose your path. And this is what you've chosen.
This is what you chose. You didn't go back to Cleveland, which had Harden, had Mitchell, had
good lineup.
Probably might be the best player on their team. The 4
Jared Allen, everybody. They got a great
So not even Jared Allen, the other guy.
Yep.
So he had things there. He didn't go back and win his championship with his home team. He went there. Here's the other thing. Jaylen Brown did not like being second fiddle in Boston. Jaylen Brown made his decision before LeBron made his decision. How is Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, and LeBron, where does he fit in that?
Joel is me. As you just said, Jaylen Brown wanted to be me. Tyrese Maxey has the capability of being me, but he's a good player. He's a good player. Paul George. I mean, all these people. Yeah, like all these characters. They're all me's. 5 me's on the court. And now they're saying LeBron's going to be the point on this?
Oh, no. Where's Tyrese Maxey? Isn't Tyrese Maxey the point?
They're claiming George James might play the point. That's just crazy.
And again, here's my thing. LeBron always said he wasn't chasing championships. And he was even on a podcast with Kevin Durant where they were making fun of Jordan.
Yeah.
And talking about how longevity mattered more than anything else.
Blasphemy.
Is that ridiculous or what? It isn't about championships. Now, the funny thing about it is we're talking a lot about LeBron, but KD did what LeBron did.
Oh, yeah.
KD left the Oklahoma City Thunder after they were up 3-1 against the Golden State Warriors and lost that series. And the very next year, he went to the team that beat his team instead of staying with his team and beating them.
Okay,
and he got a championship and he got his MVPs. But he wrote it on the back of the Warriors had already won championships without him. So they didn't need him.
OKC could have been the Warriors.
Yes.
Easily.
If they would have stuck it together. If they would have stuck together. But you had 3 me guys. You had Russell Westbrook. You had James Harden, who was the greatest sixth player.
MVP.
Yeah. But MVP doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean jack. Exactly. Yep.
So you can kiss my ass with all of this stuff about who's the greatest and these guys trying to basically do what the new generation does and downplay the people before them and try to only put the spotlight on them. I'm sorry, you don't even hold a candle to at least 5 or 6 people from the old school days.
Yeah. No, and like I said, this is where it's do or die for me. If LeBron cannot win a ring in Philly, then you know what? He needs to walk away. Seriously. He's ruining it for the rest of the game. He's ruining it for the NBA because at this point, people in my generation, your generation, we've seen the guy since day one, obviously. Almost 30 years if you think about it. I mean, the guy's been around since 97.
He was highlighting when he was like in sophomore in high school.
Grade school, yeah. So, I mean, we've seen this guy's lifetime. At this point, for the betterment of the game and maybe for himself, after this year, he needs to just call it quits. I know he's had a 2-year. And he's playing $8 million and all that stuff. And it's not about the money at this point. And I believe I'm hearing rumors that not Bronny Jr., but the third kid, the one that went to Arizona, is transferring to Villanova, supposedly. So, it was a family decision. So I'll give it credit for what it was. But at the same time, in terms of your value to a team, I think you do more harm than good if you don't win a championship this year. Because your presence is screwing up the development of other players.
And I agree with. He's taking a spot that could help someone else. And again, Philly now has to adjust their offense because of him. And this is something that I'm also I give LeBron credit for being the guy who had the spotlight on him, and he didn't ever have like a blemish. It wasn't like he was doing.
He didn't flinch.
He had some rumors about his mother dating some guy, all of that stuff. That stuff maybe, but he's never done anything bad, and he's made a lot of money, turned it into $1 billion business. Give him credit for all of that. But for him to stick around right now, and basically Maxey is on the rise. Embiid, I'm sorry, they've gone through the process. The process sucked, and I hated Embiid when he came out.
There's a reason.
Sorry, because he's a crybaby and he has no heart.
There's a reason that man doesn't get invited back to Jayhawk alumni events. Think about that.
Of course. Because he's a whiny, crying baby who's all about me. He don't care about anybody else.
Yep.
But now they got Jalen. And they have Paul George. They have the makings of a team. Now imagine if you have to change the whole dynamic of a team because of this guy who's coming in. And honestly, that decision was, I feel like it was, he deliberately wanted to hold the NBA hostage so he could be the focal point of the offseason, which he did. Yeah. And that's bullshit.
Yep.
You never heard Jordan doing that.
No.
You never heard Kobe doing that. You never heard of any of these. You know why? Because they didn't jump teams. They didn't go to any other place. They stuck it out where they were, and they made it happen. Exactly. And he refuses to do that, and he doesn't take the blame when they are bad. Like Miami, how do you go to 6 championships and win 2? What are you, the NBA version of the Buffalo Bills? Get the hell out of here.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the funny thing is when you think about LeBron as champion, obviously you think about he's got 4 rings, blah 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 blah. The 2 in Miami are going to be forgotten to me in 50 years. Honestly, it's going to be okay. You won in your hometown in Cleveland. I'll remember that.
I remember that.
And that's it. I'm not going to remember the one in the COVID years.
The Lakers doesn't
the COVID
count.
title doesn't count.
COVID bubble.
Bubble title doesn't count.
Yeah. And you notice they didn't do anything else besides then. He was carrying them because AD, who is overrated, has all of the ability in the world.
I never liked him since college. I know he was a player of the year. I know he beat my Jayhawks in 20, but
yeah,
honestly, I just never liked the guy.
He was at Kentucky, though. Think about that. Kentucky was always loaded.
Well, and I'll make a comment there, too. So, they have the TBT tournament going on right now. Kentucky beat Kansas last night in the alumni matchup, which was honestly pretty special to watch because they had a lot of cool rivalries and stuff throughout the entire tournament. So I was glad that the TBT and frankly, Ice Cube and everybody else was able to bring back that whole notion. He's got his big three league, obviously, with Ice Cube. Yeah. TBT was a kind of an offshoot of it. It's awesome that they can bring back some value for some of these guys that didn't make it to the NBA or, barely played in the NBA and get some value, get some money for it and everything else. So very cool system there. But Kentucky's alumni base, oh my God, it's insane. When you bring back Willie Cauley-Stein last night was a monster.
Yeah, remember him?
Yeah.
He's good.
Yep.
Light-skinned, tall dude.
Yep.
But think about some of the players that came out of Kentucky. Matter of fact, Kentucky would have been, I guess, like the perennial college team to win so many of the NCAA tournaments, except those guys were so good that they didn't stay more than 1 year.
No,
so
and
you never got a chance to build
John
that
Wall.
chemistry.
You have so many. I mean,
you got Wall, you got Jamal Washburn, you got.
If there was an NBA alumni list, or sorry, an NCAA alumni tournament just for the NBA, Kentucky's all the way here. Everybody else is like right around here, like Kansas and all these other guys,
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing Kansas got, we still got Will Chamberlain, but that's way back in the day,
That's too far back, yeah. I mean,
last night you had Mario Chalmers. You had Chalmers playing last night.
You had Chalmers, you had Danny Manning. You got players that played.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, Kentucky's alumni that have played at the NBA and been some of the best players. Tyrese Maxey. I mean, take all these guys,
I mean, it just keeps coming and keeps coming. North Carolina can't hold it. Duke, which is one of those colleges can't hold a candle to Kentucky.
Yep.
Patino knew how to bring those boys in. They might not have been able to spell their names, but they should have played basketball.
It took an Italian slick back coach and one brother. Let's not forget Tubby Smith. Let's not
for a moment.
Tubby Smith got that title
for a moment, but it was the
Calipari,
right?
Calipari, and Patino. I mean, there was a
it.
machine at bringing these guys in.
That was it. So they were the feeder to the NBA, and you had the others. You had some Oklahomas and some Texas, a little here, a little there, but Kentucky, Duke, Kansas, those were the main feeders. You maybe had a couple from Ohio State. You had some Villanova players that made it to the pros. Actually, the Big East, if you look at some of the Connecticut
the Big East by itself, you me AI and all that crew.
Yeah, Georgetown, all of those teams in the Big East,
everybody.
Also fed to the NBA. So, gotta love it.
But that's tradition. That's what it is. And honestly, I think that's where LeBron has kind of faltered in his trajectory of how he's going to be remembered. He's not going to be remembered for tradition. He's going to be remembered for himself at the end of the day.
He's a mercenary. He wants to go and try to win where he can easily win. Right. He doesn't earn
and yet he can't beat his contemporaries in that. He hasn't beaten the Steph Currys in that count, or hell, even the Tim Duncans in that count.
and honestly, this is the one thing that I saw something last night, and I sent it to my nephew because he's a big ball player. LeBron flopped more than I've ever seen any major star in any sport except soccer do. And it tarnishes his legacy because they showed like a whole bunch of videos, and if he would get the lightest tap, he falls on the ground like somebody shot him.
The two played. If you wanted to do a comparison of him and Kobe went and punched somebody in the mouth and then shot the ball and said, "Screw you." LeBron's like,
floppity flop. And actually in this video, they showed him punching a teammate on the Lakers on the bench, which I had never seen before, which I thought was sort of crappy. Yeah. But my thing was, like, LeBron was the biggest guy on the court. Like, if you think about it, he's 6'9", 260, whatever. He's the biggest guy on the court, but he falls like he weighs 150 pounds.
Yep.
Conversely, Jordan was getting beat up night in and night out. Yeah. They had a thing called Jordan rules, even if Detroit wants to deny it. It was making sure that Jordan hit the ground every time he tried to come.
Whatever you need to stop him,
Bite, kick, anything you did. And guess what Jordan did? He went to the weight room and got stronger. And you know who else is going to do that coming up? Wemby. Wemby does that same thing.
Wemby got that same mindset.
He's got that dog mentality of, I need to make myself better. How do I do that? That's, again, LeBron was blessed with that.
Yep.
But he never got, to me, he never realized the full potential because he never took the reins and rode the horse. He always wanted to be the guy on the back of the motorcycle instead of the one on the front of the motorcycle.
Yep, absolutely.
And having said that, we were talking about feeders.
Yep.
Let's transition to football, because in football you got Alabama, who's like the feeder team.
Typically the feeder program. I mean, look at that. They're funding basically the entire Eagles organization, as we can tell, between Georgia and Alabama. That entire black line is, oh my God. And then you got you got Jalen Carter now, most expensive lineman in the country right now.
He just got paid. Yeah.
And then
he deserves it.
Oh yeah, 100% deserved. I mean, these people are scary, so it's gonna be fun to watch. One credit in terms of the NFL. Howie Roseman has done a masterclass in managing an organization, especially with the number of personalities, talent, everything else he's had to deal with on the field in Philadelphia is quite impressive. Yes, they only have the one title to show for it, but frankly, the man's still done a masterful job since 2017 when he had Doug Peterson and the boys, all the way till now, and Sirianni and the kids. Talent after talent. This is called sustained success in the NFL. So he is honestly one of the best, if not better, GMs in all of football right now. There is no question.
Don't they have two? Because they got the one with Carson Wentz,
right?
And then they got the one with
Nick Foles / Carson Wentz, but and then they got the Jalen Hurts, but that's what I'm saying. Masterclass in managing the team, and obviously, it still amazes me how they figure out how to sort money on that organization, considering how many people are getting paid on that team. They've figured out how to work the system, work within the salary cap and everything else to make it happen. Whereas you got organizations like, you name it, the Browns or whatever.
Cleveland Browns comes to the top of mind. Arizona Cardinals, another one of those. It's just like, what are you guys doing?
You can't figure out what the hell's going on over here. But no, masterclass to him for staying as a contender. Now, that said, the Rams are still probably the favorite this year. Am I thinking right?
So did Donald actually say he's coming back?
Not yet, but the man is practicing on a field. Not necessarily with the Rams, but the guy's working out. He's still, the biggest machine on the planet. Still ripped.
Dude is all that. And the Rams, they've got the returning MVP.
Whether he comes back or not, to me, they're still the number one contender. Right?
Well, I mean, the fact that, who is not Curse? What's his name? Javon. The linebacker they had to give up, number 8.
Hurst. Yeah. Jared Hurst. Yep.
So they gave him up and they got Myles Garrett.
Yeah, Myles Garrett.
And if the Rams offense is anything like it was last year, that just makes it easier. Think about it. Myles Garrett led the league in sacks, and he was on a team that couldn't win more than 6 games.
Yeah.
Think about that. So they were behind so many games that teams didn't have to pass the ball.
Exactly.
He's going to now go to a team where most of the teams playing against the Rams are going to be playing catch up, which means they have to pass the ball, which means
peel him back,
baby. Peel him back, baby, because I'm coming.
It gets monumentally scary thinking of what that team has to do now. They are playing in a tough division. That's the thing that's going to be interesting. Seattle is a defending champ. Let's not forget that. And
the Rams were this far away from beating Seattle.
And the Rams were this close to beating them, which was, the NFC West is the NFC West. And the 49ers are no slouch. As long as they can get healthy and get away from, magnetrons, they'll be fine. Which is just amazing of that trend.
I don't know, though. I mean, they were in that tough division before. And I think the thing that sets them apart, if you really look at all of the Seattle, their defense combined with, Jigba and how he played and what Sam Donaldson was able to do. Yeah. Congratulations to him too. Let's make that clear. Here's a guy he was basically cast away. Remember, he was number 1, number 2 pick in the Jets. Everybody sort of just said he sucks. He goes to Minnesota, revives his career, and Minnesota did the dumb thing and put their money into the rookie and didn't give it to him. And he goes to Seattle and look at what he does.
Yep.
Kudos to you.
And now think about what the Vikings are doing. There's rumors coming out that Kyler Murray is the one right now.
Of course he's going to be the one.
Yeah.
McCarthy.
Now you wasted your money on McCarthy. Yeah.
So here's where I feel that Alabama and being that feeder, if you look at offensive lines, you look at defensive lines, you look at defensive backfields, you look at running backs, that's where Alabama thrives. Where they don't thrive are producing core
QB1. I mean, See, as much as people say, "Oh, Jalen Hurts from Alabama," he only played 1 year in Alabama, so don't
No,
count
he was
that
at
either.
Oklahoma more than
He was
Alabama.
at Oklahoma more than that, exactly. So that's where I'm like, you know what? Yeah, that's where Alabama's not a quarterback school, and it's never
Nope.
been. They've got obviously great, number ones, number twos. They've even
And great
they're
receivers.
you know what they are? They're the farm system of quarterbacks who end up going to other colleges and winning titles, because that's what happens at Ohio State. They take the Alabama quarterback.
Well, and that's the funny
That's where
thing.
Jalen Sand came from.
Well, and that was going to be my second school, talking about Alabama and their lack of being able to develop true NFL quarterbacks. Ohio State,
Same
for all
problem.
the glitz and glamour, think about how many quarterbacks have come out of there, and one of them, rest your soul, because you were killed and got hit by a car, all of that. But none of them have really produced in the pros. None of them.
Yeah.
What are we going to go back to, like Art Schlichter?
Yeah, exactly. Now, you when it comes to gunslingers in the NFL coming out of college, it's usually the schools that have the offensive firepower. Like you got the Texas Techs and all the schools that run and gun and all that. That's where you get your quarterback. But the rest of the field, the defense, the running backs, the big dogs, the dogs come from Georgia, come from Alabama.
Yep.
They're what we used to call corn-fed kids,
Yeah, those corn-fed. That's right. Those corn-fed dudes look like they could eat like 5 gyros and 3 Doritos and for breakfast.
Now that moniker used to live up to kids coming out of Nebraska, but that's been failing over the last 20 years too.
Yeah.
Ever since
It's been a long time.
It's been a while. It's been a minute.
It's been a long time. Maybe back when Tim Couch was playing.
Tim Couch was at Kentucky.
No,
Tim Couch was Kentucky, 1999. What's that?
Okay. No, you're right. Tim Couch was that big dude that played Kentucky quarterback, right?
Kentucky quarterback, 6'1", looked
like he weighed 350.
Yeah. And then he got blown up in the NFL by the Browns.
Of course, because he was more a quarterback on the old, for all those people my age, old vibrating football.
Yeah.
Where you,
that's what he was. So true. But that said, look at the NFL right now. Like you said, we've got our strong teams and everything. We'll transition and say, we got the Chiefs. Mahomes is back, but he's in a hell of a division this year if you think about it. Captain Kirk's going to be quarterbacking for one.
We'll see what happens there.
Justin Herbert.
Well, and honestly, this is Justin Herbert's prove year, right?
Yeah.
So they supposedly bolstered their quarterback or their front line.
Yep.
And he's got all the talent in the world.
And he's got coaching now.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens.
Yep.
Because this is his year to show out. Denver, you got Bo Nix for all of those who ever been to Bo Ricks, get that $5 haircut.
Yeah.
But let's see if Denver's for real.
Sean Payton in a year 2, year 3 scenario, why not? He's going to have a chance to build up his lineup. They've always been young, which is awesome. So they're just coming up.
And they got a great defense.
Defense was solid. It's going to be a scary feat. That's where I kind of tell my Chiefs, I'm like, where's our front line? Where's our secondary? Its front line's got to protect Mahomes. Back line's got to protect the pass because we're now in a pass-heavy division, if you think about it. We got the receivers out here.
Well, I think one of the things that has to happen, and I'm so glad Nagy is gone,
Yep.
is that Eric Bieniemy should be able to bring some of that offense back.
Yes.
And the thing that they need to do more than anything, and they got the guy from Seattle.
Dennis Walker, baby.
You gotta run the ball.
Yep.
Mahomes can throw his magic in from time to time, but if they're counting on Mahomes doing that all of the time, we're not going to be successful.
He got quoted actually last week or the week before. I forgot who he was being interviewed by, Mahomes. And he literally said, I ran a lot more than I probably should have last year. He admitted it. And he's like, we got K9 back there. He's now calling him K9, not KW3. So let's just remember that.
K9 better.
I like K9 better.
I like
K9. That dog. Yeah. So he got K9 back there. He's like, I got K9 back there, so no problem. So they already know their game plan, and it's the most beneficial move they could have made was to bring in a strong running back. So smart move on the
100%
GM.
agree, because the running back game sucked. Yeah.
They're, like you said, their best move of the offseason, bring back Mr. Bieniemy. And yes, kudos and to the sad tragedy there in terms of his wife, family, and all that. That's just unfortunate to hear. Especially, honestly, they live in a pretty affluent area around here. And again, stigma like this affects every population, as we've always said here. Like you have to look out for it everywhere. Yeah,
that's it. And the sad thing about this is, I don't care what kind of decisions parents make.
Right.
I don't care what you may be going through as a young person. You should never, in my opinion, ever have that kind of hate or distress or whatever it is that would drive you to shoot your own parents.
Yep.
This isn't the Menendez brothers trying to make a move so they can get rich. This was just a kid who was having some issues. And again, for all of those the kids that are out there, life is tough. But you know who's always been in your corner? Maybe not for every kid, because some parents suck.
Yeah.
But your parents have been there. They've given, they've provided, they've sacrificed so that you can have. And I know there's some friction back and forth, parents and kids, but come on, let's use our words and have conversations if it's getting to a point that would drive you to even consider pulling a gun out on your parents or any other individual to kill them.
Yep, absolutely. No, sad and tragic to hear that coming out of camp. And then, more importantly, shout out to Mr. Bieniemy, and hopefully everything kind of gets better, along the way. Sounds like his wife's recovering. Great news to hear.
Sounds like she is recovering.
And then hopefully his son gets the help that he needs too.
And not that this is the same thing, but is it weird that Kansas City seems to always have issues with their lower level coaches
there? Coach Reed. Look at his kids. That's
his son. Remember during the Super Bowl.
Yep. And so that's one piece of the pie. We've had assistant coaches have similar problems. There's a little bit of history and a little weirdness there, but it tends to happen. But like I said, the best you can do is try to have a conversation anywhere.
That's it. Use your words. You know what? We are civilized human beings, are supposed to be. And part of that is being able to talk things out versus it being an action that could be detrimental or fatal to somebody.
Yep. No, that said, I'm hoping the Chiefs kind of come together, rally around their coach, and and make this a positive effort, hopefully, in the long run. And
I think that's going to happen. And Eric Bieniemy's got the fire.
He's beloved.
I hope this doesn't take away from that, because they were at their best when he was the coach. When he went to Washington, what he was doing didn't translate well in Washington, but I think it does in Kansas City.
It's one of those dynamics. Eric Bieniemy was always seen as a great offensive coordinator, and obviously was for the Kansas City Chiefs. When he interviewed for other places, I guess they just didn't like the way that he rubbed them. And there's some people that we've talked about this. Some people are built to be coordinators. Some people are built to be coaches. And this was a situation that honestly probably worked out better for him, because God forbid he becomes a head coach and fails like many others do, even Steve Spagnuolo. Just remember that.
Right.
So there are people that are built to be coordinators and not necessarily coaches at the end of the day. So maybe this is a blessing in disguise. I'm hoping that this is all a positive run for him and for the team at the end of the day.
Well, and potentially, if you think about it, with Andy Reid getting up there in age, he could potentially be the successor.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that's also why we got folks like Spagnuolo who aren't looking outside the reins. Matt Nagy's a different cat. That guy's already tried, failed, and apparently he's going to go try and fail again somewhere, whatever that is. I don't even know where he's at, honestly, right now. I really don't. Because he formally went out and interviewed at a bunch of places, including, Nashville and a bunch of other places, and obviously did not get the job. We'd have to do a lookup real quick.
I'm going to look it up real quick because I forgot too. Somehow Buffalo was coming in my mind, but
there's a lot of teams that came into play,
I can't. New York Jets.
Yeah.
New York Giants. Sorry, New York Giants.
Okay, so him and Harbaugh.
Interesting.
Him and Harbaugh.
Be with Harbaugh, and he's got a young quarterback. He's got a young running back. He's got a young receiving core. Of all of the teams that have some of the greatest potential, the Giants would be right there.
The Giants are a monster because they got one guy that'll run through a brick wall, literally.
Two guys, the quarterback and their running back.
They're special in different ways.
Yeah. Not helmet on the head special. No, that's not HR friendly, but we're not, we're grown-ups here. Let's
this is cool grown-up speak here. But there's some special cats out there. Now, it's interesting because John Harbaugh usually has only seen success as a head coach. Mind you, I've had a good view of it here in Baltimore when he's had a good offensive coordinator. And in this case, this is a wild card, in my opinion.
I hope he doesn't go back to like the bubble screen with the wide receivers all the time, because that would really suck. But you know what? Let's break down some of these divisions real quick. And we're talking about the East right now. We've talked about the Eagles. We've talked about the Giants. Washington potentially could come back, having the quarterback back, who for me, Daniels' claim to fame for me was when he was in the stands talking to Juju.
Heck yeah.
And her mother came over no, was it his mother or her mother?
It was Jalen's mom that came over. Jalen's mom
and was like, Jip. No. My son's going to do better than that. I'm thinking, how are you going to do better than Juju?
Juju Watkins.
What happened to her? I don't know. It's funny because I haven't heard her
No, so
name.
Juju tore her knee last year, so she was out for
Right.
all last year. So this year she'll be the star of college basketball. There's no question.
Okay, because USC had another player that actually.
Oh, they got two. Yeah, they got two,
Yeah.
three. I mean, they got a pipeline out there, but she's going to be the star of college basketball this year. She's the next one up, basically. So
yeah, not to get off track because Washington, even with Daniels coming back, I think they're going to struggle. And I guess the thing about the East that's made it easier from the Eagles, at least recently, because they used to really suck, is they don't really have any contenders. These teams are more in their own ways. Dallas has Jerry Jones. Enough said.
Dallas fights themselves. Washington's still on the come up, but again, they don't have the star power on defense. They don't have a front line to protect Jaden. That's their problems right now. They got positional players. They got receivers. They got running backs, all that here and there. They got enough to make a team, but not in that division. Not in that division. You got to take over Saquon and them boys. How good luck with that?
And that's where I think Philly's going to have the same advantage they've had the last few years, where they can make the playoffs just because they're going to win their division.
Yep. And like I said, Giants are in rebuild mode. I mean, they're still young. John Harbaugh's going to improve them, but not to the point where they're still out of the cellar in that division. I think it's still going to be probably Eagles, Cowboys, Skins, and then probably the Giants. But Skins and Giants could be going back and forth. And yes, I said Skins because I don't believe in that whole Commander Tutty crap.
You know what? I'm going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to say that if Giants can stay healthy, if Scatterboo can stay healthy, if Malik Neighbors can get on the field and stay healthy, and their quarterback reins in that fire that he has, which I like, just a little bit. Just rein it in a little bit. No one to run out of bounds. You don't need the extra yard. I think they could finish second in their division. I know everybody's pumping up Dallas, but Dallas, in my opinion, has always been in their own way. And until they can show me they could play defense and stop a team from scoring 30, I don't think that they're going to do that well.
I'd agree. No, the East is going to be fun to watch, but I think it's Eagles and Eagles or bust basically in that set. Let's go to the South.
This will be a quick conversation.
Them dirty South boys. Now, Tampa, it's interesting. They did not elect to get a long-term deal done with Mr. Mayfield. So he's here. He's playing in a playoff year, basically, for him. And you know what? That motivates Baker. I love this guy. He's always been my dog when it comes to that.
Yeah, he's got that fire. I agree.
Now, with the whole Vita Vea situation, it gets a little interesting with him not coming back and providing that pressure. But I think Tampa's still going to win this division, sad to say. I mean, there's nobody else to contend. The Saints aren't anybody.
I heard somebody, I think it was Riddick, said on TV, watch out for the Saints. And it's like, no.
Saints ain't marching. There ain't nothing there. Now, the Falcons are an interesting one. So, quarterback changes, all that stuff, yada, yada, yada. Bijan's still there. Do you have a receiving crew? Yeah, Drake London's a boy. It's like
they got receivers. They still got the rated tight end.
Take this division, but they have no defense. That's
the defense is lacking. Yeah. And here's the other thing. So, Kirk's gone.
Yep.
They're not sure about Penix.
Yep.
Between injuries and stuff and talent as well.
Yep.
You bring in Tua. Not sure that's the greatest ad. And now they went and got Cooper Rush, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. It sounds like too many cooks in the kitchen.
That quarterback room is all up in the air. Now, let's say you bring in Tua and he starts and he gets protection for the first time in his life. Maybe. Or he doesn't trip and fall on his own head. I don't know what it is, but poor guy doesn't get an injury or concussion. Does this turn into a star-studded team? Because you're going to get the ball to London. You're going to get the ball to your tight end. You're going to get, everybody starts moving in the right places finally under this system. Who knows? Could be interesting.
They have potential.
Yeah.
But I feel like, at least for now, Atlanta's been one of those teams that gets in its own way. They've got some talent, but not having defined the quarterback position is going to hurt you.
Yeah.
If you only have Bijan and you're not really using a quarterback can't be effective on the field, the defenses will be able to shut that down in a minute.
Yep.
Their defense is suspect.
Lacking, yeah.
But the thing that they have, just like the Eagles we were talking about, is they play in a division where if you win more games than you lose, you might win the division.
Yeah, you play 500 ball, you're still in the playoffs. That's as simple as that.
That's all you need to do. So they have a chance.
And they're still on the come up, obviously, but they're still rebuilding year 10 at this point.
Some teams just can't get out of there.
That organization since the days of Cam, the days of Luke Kuechly, and all the stuff that they had kind of coming up, and they got to start over at some point.
Well, and this is the year that the quarterback's supposed to get paid, or he just got paid, right?
Paid, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So, But Carolina has a decent defense. So
Yeah.
again, because of their division,
Yep.
there's an opportunity there. But let's talk about real divisions.
Yeah.
The last two in the NFC are real divisions. We
I mean,
talked about
talked about the West already, but let's talk about the real division, I think, which I think might be the toughest division in football, personally.
I think so. I mean, if you look at from top to bottom between the Bears and Detroit and Green Bay,
for every team, there's an argument for every team to win this.
There really is.
I mean, the Lions are the Lions. They need to shore up their defense still, but their offense is still going to be.
Their offense is solid. Yeah.
Top. You know, and you might see your running back go off for 2,000 yards at this point.
I can see Gibbs doing that, especially now that he's not sharing time.
Exactly.
I think he'll have more of the lion's share of the carries, which will, unless he gets injured, should lead to better production.
Packers need Parsons back, which isn't going to happen until October now, so that gets interesting on the defense, I think.
Yeah.
But they're too. Offense has got 5,000 receivers. I can't even name one, but you keep throwing to every single one every week, and you make it work with Jordan Love.
I mean, Watson is good, but he can't stay on the field, and they got a few. To
me, none of them are true one, but they've got like 5 number 2s out there, so they can make the ball spread out and make it work one way or the other.
Only if Jordan Love doesn't get in his own way. And honestly, I was watching something a week or so ago. They were saying which quarterback is under the most pressure, and people were naming Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. But really, the quarterback that's under pressure is Jordan Love. Jordan Love's got to show that he actually is worth.
Got to prove that he's that guy. Yeah, he's got to prove that he's that guy. Otherwise, the Packers might need to think about moving on at this point or going after a veteran at that point because they've got enough talent on the field. They just got to make it work in that seat.
Exactly.
Then there's a team that I think has all the pieces. Can they put it together for the year? And that is the Chicago Bears.
Talking about my Bears. You talked about my Chiefs. The Bears, they have the pieces. I think the biggest piece that they have that's been missing from the Chicago franchises since the Dickey years, and maybe a little bit of Lovey, is a coach. They have a coach that not only do the players believe in him, but the fans believe in him.
Yep.
They didn't go and try to.
That hasn't happened since '85. Yeah, that has not happened since '85.
It hasn't. We went and got Lovey, but Lovey was a defensive coordinator, and he did all right. He got us to a Super Bowl, but he wasn't a fire and brimstone kind of coach. He was laid back and you guys won by 30. Yes, this is good. Well, you lost by 30. Yes, this is good. You need somebody with some fire, and I just feel like they got that now.
They got the right pieces.
Well, they got that, and here's the second piece that the Bears have never had in my lifetime outside of Jim McMahon. And think about that. That's Jim McMahon.
Jim McMahon
is a quarterback. When you got a name like Bobby Douglas and people who were there before I was born as your best quarterback, then something's wrong. When you got Mike Tomczak and all sorts of quarterbacks that are coming through who aren't worth a dime, to have Caleb is actually living up to his potential now.
Yeah, he is. And the guy is kind of growing into his own. If you've seen actually in the offseason, if you've seen his physical stature, he's gotten a little swole. He's good. He's building himself up.
Yes, and I think he has the confidence. And it's not a changing system that he's had to deal with, that Fields had to deal with, that Trubisky had to deal with.
Finally, a stable system, which is very rare in Chicago in any sport, frankly.
It's unfortunate that the city of Chicago has owners that don't provide stability, more of a chaos and disorganization.
Yeah, to me, like based on just even year one, I don't care if it goes downhill from now on, but you signed Ben Johnson to a 7-year deal. That's how you make it work. You lock him up for that tenure, and then that's how you get sustained success in that organization. But I like the Bears in this division right now over the other teams that we've mentioned, and obviously over the Vikings, because the Vikings, I think, also have some gaps at quarterback and everything else going on right now.
With the best receiver in the
game.
The NFL.
Yeah. Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in the game.
Jamar Chase, I give you props, but Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in the NFL.
I could still hope to God in some weird fashion, if there is a trade deadline, if somehow the Chiefs need to go make a move.
That would be good.
To drop that bomb.
Well, here's what I'm going to say about the knock on the Bears. Even though I think they can win the division, I think Detroit can win the division. I'm not so sure about Green Bay and Minnesota, we just talked about. Here's the problem with the Bears. The Bears' success last year was predicated on them getting the most turnovers and being able to utilize those turnovers and score points from those. That's not going to happen this year.
It's going to happen year in, year out, but that's where your offense can be leaned upon, right? Like that's the beauty of the Bears and having those strategic players now in place. And I think the coaching system will recognize that. So they'll lean on the run game. They'll get Caleb back, get the ball out to his tight ends, because his tight ends
the tight ends are key.
Yeah,
totally agree.
Komet and the boys, they're beasts.
Well, it's not even Komet as much as
the other guy.
I can't think of his name right now because it's early in the morning. Sorry, guys. But that's where I think they're going to really shine. And if they can just get any production out of their receivers, they are really going to be a monster. Colston Loveland, that's his name. This dude was performing. Matter of fact, he had one of the key catches in the playoffs that helped them continue. So,
but no, the North is going to be fun to watch, especially week in, week out, especially in the late months when you go down to the dirty weather in those play areas, because that's what's really going to be fun to see. And I think that's where I think Chicago's got an advantage with the run game, and so does Detroit at the end of the day. So,
but I still feel like coming out of the NFC right now, it's the Rams
and everyone else
to lose and everybody else based on what they have right now. They've got the two best receivers. They got the MVP quarterback. They've got the MVP defensive player of the year. It's hard to go against.
I think Seattle's still going to be putting up 30 points a game. I mean, think what you got. You got JSN and Cup. JSN and Cup. Seriously.
I mean, that's true. But let's see what really happens there. Will Donaldson be able to perform in the same manner as he did last year? Will the defense be as stout? And so let's see what happens. But you're not wrong. If they can score 30 points a game with the defense they've had, they're going to be a tough out for any team.
Absolutely. Going to the AFC, let's start with the AFC West. I mean, you got, like I said, every quarterback in the world I just named off. And all those teams are going to be revamped all together. With the Raiders, you've got your rookie, obviously. And I like the rookie, but it's still a rookie. So, no, the Raiders will be in the basement.
It's the Raiders. They've had the most coaches. It's like whenever.
They'll still be in the basement. But then you got the Chargers, I think, that are the next tier up. And again, this is a prove-it year for Mr. Herbert, I think. He's
the other quarterback.
Everything else, all the pieces and everything else, they need health. That's their biggest problem. They can't get Keenan Allen to play, 16 games and stuff like that. It's tough for them. So they'll have to figure out that mesh. The Broncos have the best balance, in my opinion, in the division, because between offense and defense, they've got firepower on both sides to make it work. Can Kansas City shore up the defense? And still to this day, despite all the drafts and everything else, to me, that Kansas City secondary is looking like a sieve.
Well, they gave up one of their best players in the secondary.
They gave up all their best players. They gave up the entire secondary of the NFL, basically.
Yeah.
After Seattle and this thing. But and the Rams.
I think the Chiefs are the wild card.
They are.
Which Chiefs team is going to show up, and how long can Mahomes
We can game plan. That's the advantage we have on defense. Spagnuolo figures out how to get the most out of the least amount of talent. So that'll be fun to watch in the West. So
hey, I got something for you real quick. It happened once already. Potentially, most likely won't, but could happen again. You got Harbaugh in San Diego, and now the other Harbaugh moved over to the NFC. It could happen. They did it in Baltimore against the 49ers. It could happen. You never know. Just throwing it out there.
Absolutely. Let's go to the AFC North. And frankly, that's another interesting division because you got Mr. Drama Rodgers, obviously, there in Pittsburgh. You've got Lamar and the boys are finally under a good coaching regime. I like Jesse Minter, and I like what he's trying to bring to the table right now. And frankly, they're talking big game. I mean, yes, I'm biased by local media here, but honestly, they've got the pieces. We know they've had the pieces in Baltimore.
They've had the pieces for years. Not just now.
They just got to figure out how to put it together. So now with the coaching change, I think that's a benefit for them. Lamar's looking comfortable. And frankly, the way they're touting it here, they're not going to expect Lamar to run as much. They're going to give the ball to the man that belongs with the ball, to Derrick Henry.
But that was their downfall before. It's like, how are you not giving the ball to Derrick Henry?
Yeah. So
the second piece that I think is a problem for Baltimore, besides potentially their
receiving core.
Who's their receiving core? You got Flowers and who else? You got guys dropping balls. You got that's going to be tough. And Lamar said that the way he sounded, it made it sound like he said, I'm going to do what the defense gives me. Yeah. But last year was his lowest output from a rushing standpoint. And when he was at his best and when he was the most formidable player on the field was when he was using both his arm and his legs. Yeah. If he doesn't use his legs, I'm throwing Baltimore out of the equation from a contender standpoint.
Yep. So you got those two. Then of course you got the beloved Cleveland Browns, which
The only story in Cleveland is, are they actually going to put Deshaun on the field, or are they going to go with Shador? That's the only question I see.
honestly, you play Shador. That's my take. You play
I would
Shador.
say the same thing. I don't even know how Deshaun
I don't know.
Watson
I mean, I don't know how you're affording to pay Deshaun Watson at this point, but I mean, you know what? You live in the bed you sowed. So you're gonna have to ride that contract out. You're gonna have to pay it. You might have the fourth best backup quarterback at the highest price point ever, honestly.
Honestly, you know what I'd have Deshaun do? This is just me and my
clean the locker room.
No, he would be the team masseuse.
Yeah.
As soon as everybody comes in, it's like Deshaun. Remember this? You're gonna have to do it now. And guess what? They might come back at you like you came with some of those women who were giving you massages.
This is what's gonna happen. Shador's gonna go out. He's gonna ball out and everything. He's gonna hold up his wrist like this and be like, Deshaun.
Massage this for me, baby. Oh, can you squirt some water in my mouth too?
Yeah, right. It's sad what happened in Cleveland. Now you've got no Myles Garrett either. I mean, it's just depressing to watch. Let them live in the basement. They need to go suffer some more.
Their fans don't deserve that. Raider fans don't deserve what those two franchises have done with those organizations. It's a sad thing to say.
Now let's get to the wild card. Cincinnati Bengals. This is a prove-it year for Burrow.
I think so. But see, they've hamstrung themselves in this way.
Absolutely. They set themselves up for this.
They paid all that money for Burrows and both receivers.
Yep.
So where's your defense?
Where's your defense? You have none. And that's in a division where you've got run-heavy ball, pass-heavy ball. You can't afford that. So you can't beat the Ravens. You can't beat the Steelers doing that. You could put up 40 a game. The other team's still going to put up 50.
And that's what happened last year and the year before. They actually had that scenario happen where they scored 40 points and didn't win.
Exactly. So no, at that point, this is going to be interesting to see how it plays out in Cincinnati. And frankly, if it doesn't work out, they're going to have to part with some pieces. I mean, I don't think you break up Chase and Burrow, but oh my God.
I think you give up one of them and
you should have got rid of T. To me, T. Higgins should have walked, or they should have.
And that's what it should be. And that's probably what's going to end up happening is they're going to try to trade T. Higgins.
No team can sustain 2-1s. We know that.
No.
We know that. So
yeah.
I mean, it's mind-boggling to think that they could they could make it juggle and work. So it's just, I don't know. It's crazy to watch.
And honestly, I think that it's either Cincinnati or the Ravens winning that division.
Probably. Yeah.
So we'll see what injuries play or how injuries play.
I've never had trust in Mike McCarthy, so I can't imagine the Steelers being there.
Well, honestly, I don't trust Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers either. Yeah.
And trust me, when things go bad, this is where I felt like
team is going to flip the switch. Yeah.
Well, San Francisco did a great job with the whole Brandon Ayuk thing.
Yep.
Get rid of the guy.
Yep.
Philly did a great job getting rid of Brown because he was that guy in the locker room you don't want.
Yep.
And Aaron Rodgers can be that same guy. If he's not going well, he tries to veil it, but I can tell you he blames everybody else but himself.
I agree.
And that's not a guy I want being my quarterback.
No, absolutely. So no, like I said, the North's going to be interesting, but I think it's the Ravens or the Bengals at this point, and that's what it's going to be.
So what about let's go to the East, because the East is where most people think the victor of the AFC is going to come from, whether it's New England like it was last year or Buffalo.
I think this year it goes to Buffalo.
I think so too.
I mean, the Patriots did obviously improve because they got A.J. Brown. That's one piece. They still are pretty young, in my opinion. They had a good run. They had a great run, in fact. I mean, they knew how to time things right, and everything worked out in their favor, I think, really well. But when I'm thinking about Josh Allen, and that kid's got hunger, and that's what I like. And they've got a team, they've got players, they got everything to make it work over there with the coaching system and everything else. I like Buffalo this year over the Patriots. I think they'll split the series, interestingly. I think they're going to go 1-1 against each other. But I think at the end of the day, the Bills should probably win the division because they'll win the gimme games against the Jets. They'll win the gimme games against everybody else in the North. Miami, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, I mean, and then think about it. That's 4 victories for both teams automatically, right?
Get that leg up. When you're in those weak divisions, just like the NFC East, the NFC South, you might as well take advantage of them.
Yeah. And, I
see Buffalo coming out of there. I'm not even sure New England makes the – wait, sorry about that.
I was going to say, I don't know how the whole cloud over Mr. Vrabel goes over with the whole Rossini and all that mess, but, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee made a mistake in getting rid of Vrabel
big time.
to begin with. He's a good coach.
Great coach.
We'll see how that all works out. Remember, New England wasn't expected to do what they did last year. It's one thing to sneak up on people. It's another thing to be the target. So we'll see how they respond being the target.
Exactly.
And if they can actually repeat what they did last year.
Yep, absolutely. So no, that'll be interesting to watch there. And then, of course, you got that AFC South that's always, I don't even know what at any point in time, because you've got the London-based Shad Khan Jaguars. You've got the Titans who can't figure out who to keep or not keep half the time. You've got Indianapolis, which honestly should be better than they are every year, but somehow manage to falter all the time. And then, it's one of those things where you can't explain what's happening in the South, essentially.
Just please don't bring back Phillips. Please don't.
Yeah.
I can't watch another Peyton Manning spiral.
Exactly.
When I say a Peyton Manning spiral, I mean the ball's going like this, trying to make it to its target.
Bringing back Phil Rivers was a hell of a move. I mean, it
was a hell of a move, and kudos to him for being able to play, and he actually put them in position to win.
He almost put them in position to win, which was scary. Yeah, so, very scary.
but give the old man a break. He needs to stay home with his Brady Bunch kids or however many kids he has.
Now, that said, who do you got in the South?
Honestly, I'm going to tell
Houston,
you,
but I mean,
these two teams are some of the sleeper teams to be contenders to win it all.
True.
Houston, if Stroud can actually play and not be that
Stroud doesn't turn into like a shriveled, diminished version of himself all the time in the key games. Yeah.
Yeah. If he doesn't do that, look at their defense.
Yeah.
So they have an opportunity. But honestly, I feel like the Jaguars are going to shine a little bit more this year. I don't like that whole England going back and forth stuff. But look at how they performed last year. Didn't they actually win a playoff game last year too?
They did. And they won some quality games. They beat the Chiefs handily. They did really well across the board.
Yeah. So don't sleep on those two teams. Yeah. I'm picking Jacksonville to be the victor out of that group, and I'm actually picking Jacksonville to potentially go to the AFC Championship game.
I could see them making a run. I think there's valid credence for it. Now, here's an interesting question from a fantasy take. Is Jonathan Taylor worth a top 10 pick? See, I like that look. I threw the monkey wrench today.
Yeah, I mean, I've had Jonathan Taylor a couple of years.
Oh, yeah, and it bites the ass.
Yeah, in some years he looks great. Last year he had a pretty good year, but
given what we just went through, I mean, think about it.
I just don't know. Plus, depending on what happens with their quarterbacks, because that Richardson pick was a bust. I feel like he doesn't.
It was more than a bust. It might have been that might go down as like top 10 worst ever.
Well, and depending on where you are, and this is the hard part. It's sort of like what we were talking about with Cleveland and how exceptional Myles Garrett was given the situation. How is Jonathan Taylor going to really be able to put up numbers if their team is always chasing a score?
Yep. That's what I'm saying. Like that, it kills a guy's fantasy value when he's stuck in a situation like that. So that's the reason I bring up the question, like, is it worth a top 10 pick this year? Yes or no kind of thing. So, yeah.
Fully agree.
Great debate as we get closer to fantasy time. Yeah.
I was going to say, as we get closer to fantasy in a couple of weeks, everybody's going to be getting their rosters together. We touched on a little bit of the NFL. There are a lot more stories that are going to be developing that we'll get a chance to report on and comment on as we move forward into getting to September, because once September hits, baby, it's all about the NFL.
Yep, that is very true. So no, we'll be picking back up over the next few weeks over fantasy football for sure, because we'll be getting involved in our own drafts and thinking about how to think of ways to prioritize certain players over others given the conditions, like especially this example that we just gave. So it's very entertaining. So now we get to the analytics side of our thinking.
Yeah, and we'll present some of that, and actually we'll run down each one of the positions. Not looking at specific defensive players as defense overall, but then the specific position players that you'll be looking at in your draft. We'll give you some insight into what we see. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's our perspective.
Yep.
But hopefully it'll help you in your fantasy draft.
Yep. And then, of course, we've got, in golf, we'll have the FedEx Cup to kind of follow along in August and September, which will be nice here in a few months. Baseball will finally get to a stage where I think it's a little important.
Once September hits, then it starts to becoming important.
Yep.
And then we'll also have tennis. You'll have the U.S. Open still left.
U.S. Open's coming up. I think it's gonna be an open-ended race. It'll be fun to watch and see how everything qualifies in. We've got the DC Open going on here locally, where like half the field's over here, so it's kind of fun to watch and see what's transpiring. The U.S. Open's adopting that whole doubles format again, where they're bringing in some of the top players to create some entertainment value. Djokovic and who else are playing together?
I honestly, what I've been hopeful for is do we know if Serena is going to play again?
Good question. Haven't heard a thing yet, and it wasn't in the doubles draw that they've mentioned just yet. So,
Okay.
or at least in the mixed format that they're doing, because they have Sabalenka and Djokovic together. So we're like, oh, this is kind of interesting or whatever, all that. But yeah, they haven't mentioned in that format. Don't be surprised if some news comes out in the next week or two.
Well, you know what? I have a question about that as we close.
Yep.
What happened, or what's happening with Alcaraz?
Still injured from what I'm hearing. I mean, that guy took a pretty bad toll with his knees, everything else. So at this point, he's still on the mend. He hasn't played any tournaments coming back yet, or any of the other lead up tournaments. I think he would have an opportunity. I think it's Toronto or Montreal, maybe a week or two from now, leading to the Open. But if he's not there, I don't know. Does he sit out the year basically, or what at this point?
Sounds like it probably makes sense given that
but that leads to the question, okay, you're 19, 20 years old, you're already suffering this kind of injuries. We saw Nadal having to get them in their late 20s. I mean,
and that's going to be the question that we're going to be looking at is, does all of that running around and energy and all of the things that he displayed that made him great, is that going to run him down faster? I mean, didn't Nadal had a nice
That's where you got to give credit to guys like Nadal lasting as long as they did play that physical brand of ball. If you think about it, geez.
So we'll see what happens, but curious to see what happens, because honestly, I'm tired of Sinner.
Yep.
And without Alcaraz there, it's basically every tournament tournament he enters, he's going to win 90% of those tournaments because he has no competition. Zverev is not there. Djokovic is not there. I'm going the opposite direction. Yeah. And don't name me an American player because they don't even count.
No. So no, it's sad to say, but no, we'll have to pick that one up as we hear more news coming in. But I'm hoping that Alcaraz is back because they need some more competition. And frankly, I like his brand of ball better than Sinner at the end of the day.
Way better. Plus, I haven't heard anything about him, taking anything that
exactly,
and claiming that it was just an accident. It really wasn't dead. Yeah, stop.
Exactly. But no, we'll pick back up on some fun topics next week for sure. But in the meantime, everybody stay well. It's summertime. Enjoy everything that's out there, obviously.
Enjoy the waning summer months for all of those areas like Chicago, where once winter hits, it's going to be 5. You're going to have to buckle down, hunker down, whatever you want to down jacket, because you will be cold for months. There will be no golf. There will be no outdoor sports activities.
It's hockey time.
Playing hockey on a pond somewhere.
Yep, absolutely. To that we say adieu. We shall be back next week.
All right. Be well, everyone.
Yep.